Hello and welcome to the Flux Planner Contextual Component Training video. My name is Matt Vazdinskas and I'll be walking you through this tutorial. Before we get started, if you haven't yet watched the Flux Planner tutorial, we highly recommend that video as a prerequisite. This video today will focus more on the differences to expect when working with a specific project or task using the contextual component, and how to assemble and manage project teams. The Flux Planner contextual component is a UI for interacting with specific workloads within a project or task. With this UI, you have a resource-centered view of tasks for a specific project and the ability to drill into underlying details to see how task hours are distributed across a project. Further, this UI provides the ability to take action by reassigning project team member tasks and reviewing the resulting utilization levels of Flux resources before committing to a change. We'll provide a detailed step-by-step on assembling project teams here in just a minute. Before you can start using the Flux Planner on projects and tasks, it's important to call out the same permission sets apply to both the global Flux Planner and the contextual component. There are two permission sets that control and secure access to the Flux Planner. These need assigned by your Salesforce system administrator. First, you must assign the Flux Planner viewer permission set to all users that should have access to the UI. This permission set will grant read-only access. Additionally, users must have both the Flux Planner viewer and the Flux Planner admin permission sets to be able to use reassign mode to reassign task rate tasks. Once permission sets are assigned, the Flux Planner tab will automatically become available inside the TaskRay app. Additionally, you may decide to add the Flux Planner contextual component to your Salesforce Lightning detail pages, as we see here on the TaskRay project page. This component can easily be added by your Salesforce system administrator by editing the page and dropping the component onto the layout in a location you desire.
Next, let's point out some key differences about the Flux Planner on a project or task. First, it's important to understand what we're working with in the contextual component compared to the Flux Planner Global tab. On the Flux Planner Global tab, we are seeing a full set of selected resources across many projects, whereas the Flux Planner contextual component here on a project is constrained to just the resources that own at least one task on the project. Also, unlike the Flux Planner, the contextual component does not include a date range selection. The timeline date range is automatically drawn to begin at the earliest open task start date and to end at the latest open task end date. Most of the view settings and filters work the same on the global Flux Planner and the contextual component. For example, here you'll see our ability to change our resource summary setting to daily, weekly, and current range. We'll point out filtering differences throughout this video. In addition to project team assembly and task assignment and reassignment, the Flux Planner contextual component can also be an extremely valuable tool for project managers and resource managers that are running the project. For example, we see that Brooke Nielsen and Andrew Franklin have been assigned to the project, and these tasks are still in the trainer queue. As a project manager, I can look ahead and see just how utilized our resources are, not just including this project, but on other projects. So this top resource bar illustrates the total utilization of resources across all projects within this time frame. So if I see that on the week of the 10th, Andrew is going to be at 100%, and I'm a project manager, I may want to have visibility into the other work that Andrew has on his plate. So let's interact with some of the filters to be able to investigate that a little bit. So first, perhaps I just want to focus my view on just Andrew. And I want to not just see this project's tasks, but I also want to see all tasks, billable and non-billable for Andrew. So I've interacted with these project task filters, and you'll see that Andrew and the Cheyenne Ski Company, this project is listed at top. We also see that Andrew has, including non-billable work, quite a bit on his plate with other projects during this time frame. So for that week upcoming of the 10th, we can get a sense for the other projects that Andrew may have on his plate, and as a project manager, plan accordingly, either communicating with resource and project managers on these other competing priority projects, and let's return this to just a billable view, or in a case where non-billables are competing, and it looks like a lot of the work on that Capiterra project that was displaying here earlier was making up that overutilization. And so as a project manager, I think it's very important to understand not just what's going on this current project, but also to understand where competing priorities are occurring. This is a great use case for the Flux Planner from a capacity planning perspective in context on a specific project. So we've shown you how the Flux Planner contextual component can be really helpful in assembling project teams and doing capacity planning within a project context. Let's close out this training video by taking a look at a specific task and using the Flux Planner in context. We're going to open the Prepare Training Resources task, which has yet to be assigned. It's still owned by the training queue. We see that that task is 6 hours and is taking place from the 5th through the 11th. And you'll see the Flux Planner on the task modal is also listed and available. So we're going to click into that. And what we will see is an immediate jump to the step 2 reassignment portion of the Flux Planner workflow. So we didn't have to select a task to be reassigned because we know which task we're working with. So from a task context, the Flux Planner is primarily used as a reassignment tool. Most of the filters and summary settings will still apply and be used in the same way that we've seen in other parts of this video. So let's go ahead and proceed with reassigning this Prepare Training Resources task. We see that the available resources are Jenny and Ashley, both of which appear to be in the red. So let's dig a little bit deeper. We're currently looking at all tasks. I'm going to focus on billable tasks, and it appears that for the duration of this task, which remember was the 5th through the 11th, which is the timeline that's drawn here, that Ashley Smith appears to be readily available. Again, we can drill in to see the underlying workloads that Ashley is working on, and we see that Stratified Partners is fairly light, and Blue Dome Resort is occurring on the first part of that second week of this task's time frame. So we're going to go ahead and select Ashley and reassign the task. That completes our training video. We hope that you found this to be useful, and we'd love to hear your feedback.